watching Platinum Northwest TV News. Good evening and thank you so much for joining us. I'm Philadelphia Mangoeng. Let's take a look at the leading top stories. First up, former SGB treasurer and an admin clerk appeared in court for alleged theft of the National School Nutrition Program funds and Community Safety MEC to visit affected families in Magogong village. In the business news, South African Airways is currently debt-free and is not looking for additional funding from National Treasury, rather. And in the sports news, Springbok coach Rassie names 34 players to tour Europe in November. We begin here. 36-year-old Merin Tombi Melis, a former school governing body treasurer, and 51-year-old Masilonyane Kenneth Silibalo, a former administrative clerk at Takadu Primary School, appeared in the Leeudoringstad Magistrates Court facing 88 counts of theft. The pair was arrested on Tuesday in Leeudoringstad by members of the Klerksdorp-based Serious Commercial Crime Investigation following an investigation into allegations of theft of the National School Nutrition Program funds at the school. Here's the SAP spokesperson, Lieutenant Colonel Tinyeko Matebula, with more.
Reports indicate that the duo was entrusted with the responsibility of managing the funds received from the Northwest Department of Education for the National School Nutrition Program. Their duties included ensuring that service providers are paid for the delivery of groceries. In February 2023, one service provider allegedly lodged a complaint with the school after not being paid in full for groceries delivered to the school. Following an investigation, it was revealed that between 2021 and 2023, Melis transferred money from the school's bank account amounting to over 350,000 rand into her own bank account. Further probe uncovered that Melis transferred over 174,000 rand from her bank account into the bank account of Silibalo. The accused were subsequently apprehended and charged with theft. They made a brief court appearance and were granted 5,000 rand bail each. Their matter was postponed to the 24th of January 2025 for the regional court first appearance.
In other news, earlier today, the Northwest MEC for Community Safety and Transport Management Vessels Morweng visited the unsettled Magogong village for intervention following a recent incident of murder and torching of property. The MEC was in the area to intervene and visit the bereaved families. MEC Morweng had strongly condemned the criminal activities and called for calm. Is expected to meet the families of the deceased, the community leadership and the South African Police Service for intervention and speed up investigations on the matter, as no arrest has been effected so far. The MEC took part in briefing sessions with the Speaker of the Greater Taung Local Municipality, Kiamukhetsu Muipolai, as well as the South African Police Service Acting District Commissioner for the Dr. Ruth Sikhomuzi Mompati, that's Brigadier Tsenolo Tutleng, ahead before the visit to Magogong village. In more news, the South African Federation of Trade Unions has promised to defend workers' rights against proposed labour law amendments that it views as an attack on the working class. Addressing the media, the union's General Secretary Zwelinzima Vavi said that the amendments are not politically or ideologically neutral but serve the interests of the capitalist class. Vavi said that Labour, which includes 3 other trade union federations, made proposal to amend the retrenchments facilitation period from 60 to 120 days. However, it was rejected.
The capitalists want to stop continuous use of a Section 77 strikes, as it is currently the case. Regarding Section 77 of the LRA, a union or federation of unions can call a socio-economic protest strike. The certificate for such a strike lasts indefinitely as long as their demands have not been met. Now the employers and government want the certificate to lapse if it is not used within 12 months. They are directly responding to the loss of this particular case they would have taken against Nedleg and the case which involved the COSATU strike about 2 years ago. The union's federation must then reapply according to the bosses or submit a new application even if they have ignored the demands that led to the first application in the first place. This is another way in which the working class power is undermined by these amendments in the boss's interest. From Labour were rejected. Labour, which is Saftu, Kosatu, Fedusa, and Naktu, had demanded that Section 198A should be amended to extend the facilitation period from 60 to 120 days to ensure that retrenchment is undertaken as the last resort. Business and government rejected the proposal because the subsection provides for extension of facilitation period in appropriate circumstances. But the appropriate circumstances are not determined in law, but they are determined by whoever is the facilitator of that negotiations, and we reject that. Two, we had proposed that Section 41 of the Basic Conditions of Employment Act be amended to increase severance pay from 1 to 4 months. After much deliberation, the government and Labour agreed to increase severance pay from 1 to 2 weeks, which is currently being rejected by business. And they claim that it is in the light of the current economic climate, which we know they can use that excuse perpetually forever. The labor law amendments are part of a broader, coordinated and systematic attack on the working class. And we, as Saftu, will organize to defend our interest and the interest of the broader working class.
Moving on to international news now, nearly 3 years after Russia's invasion of Ukraine saw Moscow condemned by countries globally, leader Vladimir Putin is staging a summit with more than a dozen world leaders in a pointed signal from the autocrat. That far from being alone, an emerging coalition of countries stands behind him. The three-day BRICS summit, which started on Tuesday, will run until Thursday in the Russian city of Kazan, is the first meeting of the group of major emerging economies such as Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa since it expanded earlier this year to include Egypt, United Arab Emirates, Ethiopia, and Iran. Other leaders attending include India's Narendra Modi, Iran's Masoud Pezeshkian, South Africa's Cyril Ramaphosa. Some of the outside club include Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, also is expected to join. Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva cancelled plans to attend after suffering an injury at home. Said to be by far the largest international gathering the Russian president has hosted since the start of the war in February of 2022. The gathering of BRICS and other countries this week spotlights a growing coverage of the nations who hope to see a shift in the global balance of power, and in the cases of some like Moscow, Beijing, and Tehran directly counter the United States-led West. In more international news, Vietnam have elected Leong Quoc, a military general, as its new president on Monday, the fourth official to fill the largely ceremonial role in 18 months. Quoc was elected by the National Assembly to replace Tu Lam, who remained president even after he was formally appointed as the Secretary General of the ruling Communist Party in August. The role of the General Secretary is the most powerful position in Vietnam, while the presidency is mostly ceremonial and involves meeting foreign dignitaries. His appointment took place after months of uncharacteristic tumult in Vietnam's politics and the death of former party secretary Nguyen Phuong Trong, who had dominated the country's leadership since 2021. While some describe the appointment of Quoc as the new president was a move to stabilize the system after the period of turbulence, critics have described his installation as yet another example of the expansion of Vietnam's police state. With that, let's take a look now at the business news. In the business news, South African Airways is currently debt-free and is not looking for additional funding from the National Treasury. However, Parliament's Standing Committee on Public Accounts heard on Tuesday that the national carrier requires a capital injection to get back to its former glory. The capital is also needed to bring forward some of the plans it had pushed back because of the non-availability of the 3 billion rand it would have received from the proposed controversial acquisition of the 51% share in SAA by the Takatso Consortium. Minister of Transport Barbara Creasy said that government remains open to securing an equity partner for SAA, stressing the airline will lose market share without one. She said a capital injection would assist in ensuring the ability of SAA to continue as a going concern and help facilitate the expansion of the regional and international routes. And that's all from the business news. Your sports update follows next. In rugby news, Springbok coach Rassie has named a 34-man squad including returning players such as Andre Esterhuizen, Damian Willemse, Franco Mostert and Argie Snyman for the next month's 3 tests in Europe. The Bucks will take on Scotland on the 10th of November, England on the 16th and Wales on the 23rd, consecutive weekends next month after winning this year's Rugby Championship title. The players ruled out due to injury are Sasha Feinberg, Mgomezulu, Salman Murat, Steven Kitshoff and Loer de Jager. Erasmus' squad include 18 forwards and 16 backs. The coach, however, took comfort from the fact that most of the players have had the luxury of facing the Northern Hemisphere opposition in the United Rugby Championship in recent weeks and said that would prepare the players better for the challenge ahead. In soccer news now, the standout fixture of match day 3 of the 2024-2025 Champions League phase arrives in Catalonia on Wednesday night at Barcelona is set to host Bayern Munich. There's plenty of good feelings surrounding the Barca team heading into Wednesday's bout, but duels with Bayern have brought out the very worst of the modern-day Blaugrana. Now, the Bavarian side have won the last 6 head-to-head meetings, a run in which includes the notorious 2 rout at Camp Nou in 2020. Meanwhile, in Germany, RB Leipzig will welcome English giants Liverpool. The race will be looking to make it 3 wins out of 3 later this evening. Liverpool have already beaten AC Milan as well as Bologna and will go another step closer to qualifying for the knockout stages if they can win this evening. And that's where we're going to have to leave it for tonight. Thank you so much for watching. The team will be back again tomorrow evening. Till then, good night and take care.